Hello and welcome. You're watching Edison TV. I'm Ashbourne. Now, whisper it very quietly, but one of those commodities, not one of the ones we know that a lot of commodities have been doing very well recently, but one of those which has been quite quiet for a few years just appears to have woken up. Which one is it? Well, it's lithium. And in the last few months, let's say about 6 months, the price has at least doubled, having, as I think we know, had a pretty miserable time in the immediate post-COVID era. Well, who are the beneficiaries? Well, of course, the biggest beneficiaries in percentage terms should be those smaller companies that are transitioning from explorer to producer. Well, we have in the studio with us exactly one such company and its chief executive. The company is CleanTech Lithium, and its chief executive, joining me now, is Ignacio Mehech. And Ignacio, thank you very much indeed for joining us.
Thank you for the invitation. I'm very happy to be here with you today.
So tell us a little bit about CleanTech. Tell us a little bit about the lithium market. Where are you? Where are you trying to get to? What milestones do you have to get through?
Well, first of all, CleanTech is an AIM-listed company since 2022. We have projects, lithium projects under development in Chile. Our flagship project is called Laguna Verde. And just recently, in the past few months, we have reached a few milestones that I think are worth highlighting in our progress to development. First of all, we have been awarded what is known as the CEOL, the CEOL. That is the special contract that you need to have in Chile in order to be able to produce lithium. And it's quite a landmark for us because we have become one of the first companies in the history of the country to be awarded such a contract. There are only 2 COLs awarded to date to state-owned companies, Enami and Codelco, and we are within the first batch of fully privately owned companies to be awarded a COL, and that happened March 9th, 2026. And then the second major milestone that we reached is the publication of our pre-feasibility study that was published in March, 30th of March of this year as well, and it delivers the economics of the project and proves that it's a very attractive project, very prospective, especially with these lithium prices, but even with lower lithium prices. And yeah, so we are just in this transformational stage of development where we're now looking to develop the project. We've already done the exploration, so it's a big time for us to be here.
So you've got your sale and you've got your pre-feasibility study. You've been quite modest there, actually, when you said delivers the economics. The PFS, am I right in thinking it had a net present value of about $1 billion, just a little bit less, US dollars?
Yes, in a post-tax basis, NPV8, the NPV is $959 million, assuming a lithium price of $22.5 thousand per ton. If you look at the price today, it's...
And that's a lithium carbonate price?
Yes.
And the price today, sorry, you were...
The price today is around $27,000 per ton. So we have proven to be quite conservative on the pricing. And also, if you read analyst notes, recently they have been forecasting deficits of lithium for the next 10 years. So we believe the lithium price will be in the vicinity or higher to the price that we use for our pre-feasibility study. But even with those numbers, the IRR is 21.2%. As you said, the post-tax NPV 959, pre-tax $1.3 billion. So it's a pretty attractive project.
So you've got a company in CleanTech, and I think I'm right in saying the market cap is about 15 million pounds, $20 million thereabouts. So it's just 2%, round numbers, of the NPV of your project.
Yes, no, definitely. We believe the price, current price, that does not reflect the value of the company. And if you compare it to our peer companies in developing lithium projects from brines in other parts of the world, we are trading way below that comparison, even 10 times lower than them.
And your technology, now this is not typical technology. You have a salar, is that fair to say, in Chile? This is the thing you're going to, mine in inverted commas. But just tell us how that technology works, and also why it's different from the typical industry technology.
Yeah, well, we say we don't do mining, we do brining. which is quite, I think I like the concept.
Yeah, I like it.
So yes, we are not the developers of the technology, but what we want to do, and we have said from the beginning, is we will use new technologies to develop our projects. And in this case, in Laguna Verde, what we have developed up to the pre-feasibility stage level is direct lithium extraction. So let me give you some differences between direct lithium extraction and normal or historical lithium production from salars. I used to work for a company that did such exploitation method before, so I can compare. With a regular operation, it takes between 18 and 24 months to get the product. With direct lithium extraction, it takes 2 days. With evaporation, your overall yield or recovery from the brine is around 30%, being optimistic. With DLE, we can recover more than 85% of the lithium from the brine. With evaporation, you use a massive amount of land because you need these huge evaporation ponds. With DLE, you have a footprint of just a couple of hectares, so much smaller. And also, it allows you, as you selectively recover lithium from the brine, it allows you to then return the brine back into the aquifer, and that keeps the levels stable, so you also protect the environment by using this technology. And also, and finally for us, this technology really enables the project because we couldn't, many salars would not be able to be exploited without this technology. So that's why we have been so committed to the technology since the starting of this company, and that's why we spent so much money building a pilot plant in Chile, testing the technology, producing lithium carbonate with partners in the US, battery grade, to prove that the flow sheet works and is efficient.
And this is something you now have, the pilot plant you mentioned there. This is something you're looking to get into continuous operation?
Yeah, the pilot plant, we have already tested very thoroughly in the previous years. That's why we produced this eluate or post-DLE brine that we sent to the US. We have produced to date, last year we announced 100 kilos of battery-grade lithium carbonate. And this year we are producing 200 to 300 kilos more as we speak. It's public information. And also in Chile, with our technology partner, we are doing the end-to-end process from DLE to lithium carbonate, which is also quite unique for a lithium company. So because we have with our partner the capabilities of running the whole process up to or down to lithium carbonate battery grade in Chile.
What environmental sensitivities are there around brining your salar in this way? Because you look at South America, there have been, look at other countries, there have been some local communities have got involved.
Yeah.
They're not always entirely happy to see their salars being mined in this way. And is that the reason why you chose this technology?
Yeah, well, first of all, the main concerns of the communities and the broader society in general with brining has been the evaporation in these big evaporation ponds of the water. That's why a few years ago, the Chilean government, when they announced the lithium strategy, they said, okay, we want to develop this industry, we want to bring in new players. Chile has the two largest companies in the world are being operating in Chile for 40 and 30 years respectively, but no new entrants in 30 years. So to further develop the lithium industry in Chile, the government decided to demand or to request the application of direct lithium extraction. Because first, it reduces the footprint, as I was telling you, and secondly, it reduces or eliminates water evaporation. You can protect the watershed as you reinject the brine back into the aquifer. So really DLE, beyond all the benefits that I told you operationally, and also that is a very low cost, so it's in the first quartile of costs as per any other lithium operation in the world. It will allow us to return that brine into the aquifer and therefore protect the environment. And I always like to highlight in terms of indigenous communities. The closest community to our project is 100 kilometers away, but we have anyways engaged with them and other indigenous communities in the region, and they have actually been very supportive of the project so far. When we applied to this COL last year, they signed support letters to our project to the ministry, and they have been in public stages, in events, in seminars, speaking about their support for the project. So because we have a long-term agreement with them, and we plan, first of all, to do all the environmental studies with them, and when we are in production, share part of our sales with them as well.
So can you outline for us what steps do you have to go through now from where we sit today in the middle of 2026 to get into full-scale production? What's the roadmap?
Okay, yeah, so our strategy runs three things in parallel, basically. 'Cause today, after publishing the PFS and being awarded the COL, we can move on to the next stage of development. What is it? Firstly, we are looking for a strategic partner at project level to develop this project. That process is ongoing and will be finished by the end of the year. And we want to bring a partner that supports, first of all, what we have between now and the final investment decision. And then once an FID has been met, supports with equity and debt, the development, the actual funding of the project. In parallel, we are in the process also of dual listing in Australia. That process should be finished by the end of the third quarter of this year. Because we want to go to a different audience, a market is limited in terms of knowledge of lithium brines, South America, but the Australian market is much larger. So we believe when we compare to peers that are listed there, as I said, we are undervalued, and we want to get all this analyst coverage and all this liquidity from the Australian market to re-rate our stock price. And finally, we want to start as soon as possible with the preparation of the environmental impact study. That takes 12 months to prepare. So we aim to be submitting by mid next year, hopefully being approved by mid to late 2028. And that's when we will be doing FID. And if everything goes well, we will be in construction 29, 30, and in operation late 2030, early 2031.
So final question, and you're allowed to exercise some latitude here. Where would you like the company to be in, say, 3 or 4 years' time?
Well, first of all, 4 years' time, our project Laguna Verde should be in construction. We have other projects in our pipeline. Viento Andino is 100 kilometers away from Laguna Verde, and our strategy has been to develop the extraction part in the salar, but then the processing, the final bit of the process, do it in the city, which is kind of 4 hours away from the salar. So therefore, afterwards, when we develop Viento Andino, we can bring this eluate to the same centralized processing facility that can grow. So we want to create a district in that region in Chile. And we have another project called Arenas Blancas, which is located in Salar de Atacama, which is where Albemarle and SQM operate, the best lithium resource in the world. Hopefully we will be exploring and developing that project as well. And why not, having found more opportunities in Chile, which is a country that holds the largest lithium reserves in the world. So there are plenty of opportunities for companies that are first comers and the first in production in Chile after so many years.
Ignacio, we wish you the very best of luck. Ladies and gentlemen, that was the Chief Executive of CleanTech Lithium, Ignacio Mehech, talking to me there. That's all we got time for, I'm afraid, today. We'll be bringing you more such opportunities in the very near future. CleanTech Lithium, have a look at them. The shares are up from about 5p, say 6 months ago, to about 7.5p now. So up 50% in the last 6 months, and I'll let you do the math. Until then, you have a very capital day.